Hey guys, EV Master Gaming back here with the letter. I'm laying in bed because I'm too lazy to set up my like recording area right now. So let's do this. With clear skies, of unrestrained laughter from children playing in the streets and of small cramped dwellings. I don't remember what this part is about because I haven't played in a while, so to an outsider the site does not paint a pretty picture. However, this is home to me. October 23rd, Sunday. Oh, right. I look like a potato. But oh well. You know what? I'll sit up. Okay, let's do this. Morning dawns bright and clear, follow the day, although the air still feels muggy, and I miss the chilly autumn weather. It's one of those rare weekends when I'm up even before my alarm. If it wasn't for Zach's call last night, I'd probably sleep in. When 9 a.m. rolls around, I'm already on my way to Ermengarde Mansion. To think that I'd have to go back again, I'd be lying if I say I'm excited. I don't have to anymore. Rose happily gave me the paperwork duty when I volunteered. We're in the last phase of the sale, too. Well, almost. Papers to sign, documents to finalize, various other legalities to settle with the current owner and all that still. Never mind that its new owners want everything done within the week, when the process typically takes more than that. They want it done, we'll get it done. I really, really don't understand rich people, but money can do wonders. I won't be surprised if they'll be able to push the process just a little more, like what they did to secure the house. The point is, I'm under no obligation to return this house anymore. Renting is an option, of course. I can now move on to another property and forget everything. However, at the end of the day, it's always my conscience that wins. What if something happens to those who have seen the letter? Ash, Zach, Becca, Miss McCullough, the Wrights. The guilt will follow me to my grave. The mansion looms as we approach. Whispers welcome me back, shadows calling. I hope this is the last time. I don't want to go back in here. They're engaged in a quiet conversation when I find them in the mansion's front gardens, but even with familiar company, it is impossible to feel at ease here. No matter who I'm with, the feeling of being watched is there, like the very place itself is aware of its trespassers. Zach, on the other hand, doesn't seem to notice, or he simply doesn't care, or he's already used to it. I could never tell with him. Sometimes he's almost as hard to read as Ash. Almost. At least Zach doesn't ask for as much patience as dealing with Ash does, and that says plenty about him. I'm really tired. Miracles of miracles. How the two have ended up best of friends. He waves at me as I approach. True to his promise, Zach has also brought his friend with him. Fucking priest. Father Norman. I should have went with the other option. Somehow I expected him to look older. I don't like his voice. Hmm. I suppose. He lets Zach and I walk ahead. A relief. This way he won't see how tightly I'm clutching the straps of my bag. Father Norman's probably trying to put me at ease, but the worry, the cold, restless, foreboding feeling has firmly lodged itself in my stomach, making its presence known with every step we take towards the house. No, he's probably just checking out your ass, because he's a fucking priest, and priests do that shit. It's hard to lie to Zach when he gives you that look. It's just there. The kind that implores a silent appeal. I'm not sure if he's even doing it consciously. And if the breeze blows and I try not to shiver, try not to listen to the voices that may or may not be there. That's what you think, bro. Ridiculous talk, though the temporary reprieve it lends is more than welcome. He offers me a smile in return, the least he could do. With a slight motion of his head, he gestures for us to move ahead while my own fears are left forgotten for the time being. The things inside my bag clatter softly against each other while I rummage for the keys to the mansion. Should have heard the telltale jiggle by now, but didn't I put it in my bag last night? Seconds later, I'm sitting on my heels, and one after another, I'm taking out everything from my pocket every slip. It'll be a pain to put everything back later, but I'm sure it's just under these. Nothing? Oh man, of all the times to forget. No use coming up with excuses, and right after they've both taken the time to get this far away from the city, with a heavy sigh, I grab the door handle to pull myself up, a string of apologies ready at the tip of my tongue. There's a brief moment of confusion, and then I'm falling. The momentum of the door swinging open pulls me back into the mansion's foyer before I can make sense of what's happening. No time to nurse my bruised back or make up excuses because the next thing I know, Zach's gently pulling me upright by my arm. Rose takes a look down at me with a mixture of apprehension and something I couldn't quite place. I'd say it's relief, but sheesh, good going, Isabella. Right after you volunteered to work on the papers and standing behind her. Abruptly, he waves his hands at Zach and Father Norman like their presence is a slight against his own. Like a deer caught in the headlights. Unfair, Rose. That's putting me on the spot, and it leaves me no other choice but to answer. I'm so sorry, Mama. You said I'll go to hell if I lie. I likely will after this, but there's no other way. Well, it isn't entirely a lie. I'm here to make sure no one disturbs them after they move in. It just so happens that what I'm checking for and trying to drive away is of the paranormal variety. Mr. Wright shifts his eyes around in a careful manner, as if he's looking for faults in every crevice of the house. The grin on his face, though, when he returns his attention to me, is similar to what my kuya Jordan had often given me when he was up to something. Usually a scare prank that inevitably ended in me crying. I never did forget the way my brother sneered at me then. A part of me thinks that perhaps, if I hadn't been the object of his mischief inside childhood, I would have grown a little braver. I doubt that. Right now, in the face of an almost identical expression, perhaps even crueler than what I'm used to, the lie I told falls apart. shrink under his scrutinizing gaze. For a second, I think he'll start shouting at me. Instead, he laughs. Not the mocking, jeering kind, but one wondering if he's hearing things right. I'd say he was amused, but honestly, I couldn't understand what was so funny with what I just said. Was it really that weird? Wasn't it a custom here? I wish Becca was here to explain stuff like this. He did not. Oh shit. Hopefully this fucking video doesn't get flagged. All of a sudden, there's an awkward silence, and even Rose, of all people, seems reluctant to break. Although a desire to do so is so evident in the way her eyes nervously shift to Mr. Wright. Meanwhile, Zach's grip on my arm suddenly tightens. He doesn't say anything further, but there's a conflicted look on him when I glance up. That's the face he only makes when he desperately wants to give someone a piece of his mind, but chooses not to do so, mostly to avoid confrontation or fanning the flames to an argument. He has always been like this. Even among his own friends, he chooses to take a placating stance despite holding opinions of his own. Not that I won't say anything. I know Mr. Wright's a client, but you can't just say that in front of other people, in front of Zach, no less. If Ashton were here, I know he wouldn't stand for it, and neither do I. There's a reason why bullies back home never touch my younger brother again after I give them a taste of my own medicine. He might be inches taller than me, but I'm pretty sure I can still land a hit or two. If only I'm not going to get in trouble with BRC for it. But before any punch could be thrown, Ma'am Hannah cuts in. A voice too firm, demanding his complete silence. Instead of answering, she merely crosses her arm and shoots her husband a sharp, disapproving glare. That seems to have done the trick. He immediately shuts his mouth, but not before muttering a few inaudible words under his breath. At this, Ma'am Hannah could only sigh and shake her head. Rose looks like she's about to murder someone, probably me. At least she won't have to stay in a haunted property. She's getting the better end of this deal if anyone's going to ask me. Rose hurriedly hands me the keys to the house before leaving, mouthing reminders to secure the place and harmless threats for throwing her under the bus. I return it with a reassuring smile of my own, even if she's the one who often forgets. Sheesh. And just like that, gone, just as quickly as they appeared, fleeting from one scene to the next and leaving me wondering if this simply is what typical for the rich and famous. If so, I'd rather stay with my rundown apartment or our little shack back home. There's still joy in the smallest things, after all. If the house is big, it's not surprising when the ceremony takes a few hours to finish. The sun's already high by the time we've gone through the last room. I can never say I'm a devout follower of my own faith, even with Mama and Papa's teaching. But hearing every word Father Norman uttered as we went around the house has put me at ease. All of a sudden, the mansion doesn't seem so scary anymore. Maybe there's an end to this? Or perhaps this is the end? Father Norman bids us goodbye upon exiting the mansion grounds. He is simply he is has he had he has I can't talk. He has business in the village nearby. He says, minute gesturing to reach out to the members of their parish every once in a while. It reminds me of a distant memory of helping hands and a few kind smiles that helped my family pull through when times were tough. But before he leaves, Repo. I bite back the harsh retorts before they come out, masking it with a smile as we wave the good priest off. His words, though meant to comfort, have only left a bitter taste in my mouth. And if they don't believe you, what am I to do? A hand lands briefly on my shoulders, taking me out of my thoughts before they take a sullen turn. But my smile doesn't quite reach my ears when I turn to him. Ooh. I'm gonna hang out with him. I like Zach. I smile. A real one this time, devoid of any unpleasant thoughts. Regardless of what happened between us these past few days, I don't want to think harshly of them. This is going to be a shorter episode. I'm going to end it right here. It's a good place to end it because there's nothing really going on. I'll record another episode here in just a minute. So, like, subscribe, leave a comment down below, click that bell if you want to, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.